So I got a new microphone. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably catch the corner of it like right here. So if I'm looking this way a little bit, I'm directing my voice towards the microphone so it picks up pretty well. Today I'm going to be talking about brands and the benefits and kind of like the pros and cons of tying a name to a brand. So basically, like with these streetwear brands, a lot of them have a name tied to it. That can be seen with looking at Off-White with Virgil Abloh, or say you look at Fear God with Jerry Lorenzo, Tommy Hilfiger, just literally his name. And you have more cases like that where it's named after the designer, Gosha Rubisky, or however that's pronounced. Then you also have these brands that are obviously, created or founded by these specific people, but they don't really have a name tied to it. And some brands like that, like Supreme and Palace, where they're obviously founded by, these specific people. The distinction of it is more so just the brand rather than the person. They've kind of almost become separated from that person and become its own entity. So first off, we'll talk about Supreme and Palace and similar brands like that. So Supreme was founded by James Jubaya, and I had to look up his last name because, these people like this, they're in the news, they're not really in the spotlight a whole lot. And they don't really do a whole lot. Like I think the Supreme, James Jubaya or whatever his last name is, I don't think he's done like a whole lot of interviews. I think the last interview he did was like several years ago. I think he tries to stay out of the spotlight. And then for Palace, I guess it was founded by Lev Tanu in 2009. But yeah, I've never even heard of that guy's name. So that just goes to show, how these guys can create just these massive powerhouse streetwear companies and not even be known by a lot of people. Like I bet a lot of people that are in Supreme and Palace don't know about who founded it unless they're, like the real like OG Supreme heads or Palace heads. So a pro that comes with this is these people can do something, like say they do something in the media and it might not be tied directly to the brand and like have consequences on the brand. You probably will see a lot of media outlets be like, oh, Supreme's James blah 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 founder does this in this, but it'd be very different if it was like Virgil Abloh caught doing this, where Virgil Abloh kind of is Off-White and has a lot of other ties in companies. So and then some of the cons with not having a name tied directly to that would be just, say when these designers are like, you have a Virgil Abloh of the world where he can just, hop around and like he's now the like creative director for Louis Vuitton, I think. So, it'd be hard for people to be like, oh, James Jubaya of Supreme has gone to Gucci or something like that, and he's now their creative director. That name doesn't hold as much power. They'd have to reference Supreme at least, or probably, a lot of the titles for headlines covering that topic would probably talk about Supreme's blah, blah, blah goes to this place, whereas like I was saying, say Virgil Abloh, you don't even need to mention Off-White. Everybody knows because Virgil Abloh like kind of is Off-White. So then jumping to the brands that have these creative directors or founders or these big names behind them, the Gosha Rubiskys of the world, Rubushki, I don't know, the Goshas of the world, the Virgil Ablohs of the world, the Jerry Lorenzos, the Ronnie Feigs, I don't know. All these guys who are strongly correlated, tied to the brand. You have all these guys, and that's very different because these guys are, they're in the spotlight along with the brand, So say if they do something, they're going to get backlash, and it'll directly affect the brand. Because it's a lot more in the spotlight. And another great example of this would be Kanye West with Yeezy. Those are just they go hand in hand, you know, Yeezy, Kanye, it's even the same name, or one of his aliases or whatever. So yeah, those go together, and you look at stuff that Kanye does, and then you see how he reacts on his social media, and you'll see direct effects on the Yeezy brand. I don't know, I wouldn't quite say stock, but like stock X, you know, the prices and stuff. I guess the stock in some sorts gets directly affected by that. You know, you'll see the Yeezy prices go down if Kanye does something dumb, or maybe they'll start sitting longer. Not as many people will try buying them, but maybe, you know, he distances himself from that. He comes back, starts acting cool, pumps out a couple new colorways, maybe some new silhouettes. People will be like, oh, you know, I guess, you know, Kanye isn't that bad. He's distancing himself from Trump, so maybe I'll start buying Yeezys again. So then you see it go back up. So that's an example of somebody who's, you know, directly tied to it. Another one would be Gosha, you know, his brand Gosha. There's some allegations of him obtaining child pornography almost, I guess that's what it would be. And, you know, something like that, if it did get proved to be real, or even the allegations, if they were a little more out there and well-known, you know, even the allegations, if they were a little more well-known, or if they did get proved, you would probably see this brand, you know, basically shut down. I mean, it's even named after the guy, so it'd be really hard for that to recuperate. So one of the pros that I haven't really covered for having a name tied with the brand is that the person is in the spotlight, so, you know, you learn a lot more about them, and you can build this bond not only with the brand. You know, you see Supreme people, you see the Supreme heads or the hype beasts or whatever. They kind of just obsess over Supreme, and you know, they're definitely not getting to know about its origins and all this stuff. They're just like hyped about the culture. But if you go and you look at brands like Fear of God, Off-White, and stuff like this, you know, their creators are also in the spotlight. They're doing interviews, and you can learn a lot about them. So you can build this bond with this creator also and get to know them. And maybe that makes that brand mean much more to you. Maybe you learn something you don't want to, and it makes it mean much less. So that's another like pro and con thing, you know. The person's up there on the pedestal with the brand. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about, touch on that stuff. Really just wanted to test out my new microphone, see how the audio works. So hopefully it worked pretty well. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to. Don't forget about that. Yeah, other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.